Greetings, Hare Krishna, to all you thirsty souls to drink the nectar of Gaura. We're continuing by the grace of Guru and Gauranga to try and relish these narratives. So we're now on chapter 5 of the Antya Lila. So we read last time about Sanatana Goswami's visit and his being tested. So now it's going on to another episode. So this is all comes under Nilachali Mahaprabhu. So that means the pastimes and the exploits of Sri Chaitanya while he was living in Nilachali, which is Jagannath Puri. So before we begin, Vandeham Sri Guruh Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Param Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha Sinhaskandam Madhura Madhura Smera Gandhasthalantam Durvigye Ojvala Rasamayas Charjanana Vikaram Vibrat Kanti Vikachakana Kamboja Garbhaviramam Eki Bhutam Vapuravatuvo Radhaya Madhavasya. His broad shoulders are round and leonine, his cheeks spread with the sweetest smiles sublime, whose person undergoes extremities of ineffable divine ecstasies, who shines with sheen of petals that unfold of freshly blooming lotuses of gold. May he afford protection and delight, in whom Radha and Madhava unite. So, Chaitanya Charitamrta, Antya Lila, chapter 5, the invocatory shloka is Vaigunya Kita Kalita Paishuna Vyani Pirita Dainyarnave Nimagnoham Chaitanya Vaidyamashraye. Infested by the worms of imperfections, tortured by the boils of wickedness, immersed in the sea of misery, I seek refuge with the healer, Chaitanya. Jaya Jaya Sachi Suta Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Jaya Jaya Kripamal Nityananda Dhamya. Glory, glory to the Son of Sachi, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Glory, glory to the blessed Nityananda, full of mercy. Glory to Advaita, the sea of mercy. And glory to all the bhaktas. Glory to Swarupa, Gadadhara, Rupa, and Sanatana. One day, Pradyumna Misra, bowing to the feet of Prabhu, entreated him, Mahaprabhu, I am lowly and a miserable householder, and by some good fortune I have gained your feet, hard to gain. It is my desire to listen to the stories of Krishna. So be merciful to me and speak to me of him. And Prabhu said, I know nothing of Krishna. Ramananda knows everything. I hear it from his mouth. You are fortunate that you have a mind to hear of Krishna. Go and hear it from Ramananda. The appetite for stories of Krishna is yours, and you are most fortunate. Whoever has an appetite to hear of Krishna is blessed. And so it is said, there's a shloka, Dharma swanustita pungsang vishrakshena kathasu yaha notpadaye Yadiratin Sramaeva Kevalam. If that Dharma, even though beautifully carried out by men, does not stimulate desire to hear about Vishvakshena, it is merely labor. End of quote. Then Pradyumna Misra went to the place of Ramananda, and Ramananda's servant seated him upon a seat. Mishra did not see Ramananda there, and so he asked the servant, and the servant began to tell him the story of Rai. There are two Vakanyas of great beauty, and they are skilled in song and dance with young. Rai takes them both into a lonely garden and instructs them in the repetition of the songs of his own Nataka. You remain seated here, and in a while he will come, and then whatever you command, he will do. So Pradyumna Mishra remained seated there, and Ramananda took the two to the secluded place. With his own hands he anointed them, and with his own hands he bathed them and cleaned their bodies. With his own hand he put clothes on their bodies and decorated them with ornaments, and still the heart of Ramananda was unaffected. His passion was like a touch of stone or wood. Such was the nature of Ram Rai at the touch of the young women. He served them, attributing to them the perception of that which is to be served, and he attributed to himself the natural bhava of a female servant. The greatness of the bhaktas of Mahaprabhu is incomprehensible, and among them the bhava of Ramananda reached the limits of prema bhakti. Then he taught the dances to those two, and acting out the deeper meaning of the songs. He taught them the signs of the sanchari and satvika and sthayi bhavas, and how to manifest these in acting with expressions of eyes and mouth. And that which Rai taught them, the revealing of bhava in the dance, both demonstrated that before Jagannath. Then he fed prasad to them both and sent them alone to their own place. Each day Rai would perform such sadhana. Does any mere jiva know Rai's mind? The servant told Rai that Mishra had come, and then Ramananda quickly came to the court. He greeted Mishra respectfully and humbly said to him, "You came a long time ago, but no one told me. It was my offense at your feet. By your coming, my house is purified. Command me. Tell your servant what he should do." Mishra said, "I have come to see you, and I have purified myself by the sight of you." And Mishra looked for a long time and said nothing at all. Then, bidding him farewell, Mishra went to his own house. The next day, Mishra came into the presence of Prabhu, and Prabhu said, "Did you hear stories of Krishna from Rai?" Then Mishra told him the whole story of Ramananda, and when he heard it, Mahaprabhu began to say, "I am a sannyasi, and I consider myself indifferent to the world. Not to speak of seeing one, if I so much as hear the name of a woman, my mind and body are altered. What man is steady at the sight of a woman? Hear everyone in the story of, hear everyone, the story of Ramananda Rai. It is not a story to be repeated. It is a matter of wonder. They are Devadasis, single and young and beautiful, and he himself serves all their bodies. He bathes them and the rest, and dresses them in clothes and jewels, and he sees and touches their hidden parts. And still the heart of Ramananda Rai is unaffected. He teaches them how to display, and his body and his mind are unaffected, as if by stone or wood. How wonderful that his heart is unaffected by the touch of a young woman. This is within the power of Brahmananda alone. And this I know, that his is a non-material body. He alone knows the condition of his heart. There is no second vessel able to know it. Let me make a guess. According to the example of the Shastras, of it there is proof in the Bhagavad Shastra. He who tells or listens to with faith the rasa and other vilasas of Krishna with the women of Braja, at that time his sexual desire, the illness of his heart is destroyed. He is not agitated by the three gunas, and he is very calm. He gains prema bhakti, which is sweet and bright, and he always sports with the sweetness of Krishna in joy. And so it is said in the Bhagavad, Vikriditam prajavadu biridam cha Vishnoho Shraddhanvito nusrinuyat at varnayet yaha Bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya kamam hridrogamasa apahinoti chirena dhiraha. He who, with faith, listens constantly to the playing of Vishnu with the women of Braja and constantly describes it, quickly becomes steady, gains the highest bhakti to the Bhagavat, and quickly rids himself of sexual passion, that disease of the heart. End of quote. Such are the fruits for him who listens to or reads this. He who serves day and night is overcome with bhava. What can I say of the fruits of this? They cannot be described. His body is perfected like one who is eternally perfected. I know that Rai's worship is in the Raganuga way. In it, as his body is perfected, there is no thought of women. I listen to talk of Krishna at the place of Rai. If you have a desire to hear, go there again. Take my name, that he has sent me here to listen to stories of Krishna from you. Go quick while he is still in the court. And when he heard this, Pradyumna Mishra went immediately. He went to meet Rai, and Rai greeted him. Give me your command. Why have you come? And Mishra said, Mahaprabhu has sent me that I might listen to talk of Krishna from you. And when he heard this, Ramananda Rai was overcome with prema, and delighted in his heart, he began to speak. By the order of Prabhu, you have come to hear of Krishna. Where shall I get greater good fortune than this? And so saying, he took him to a private place and sat him down. What do you wish to hear? He asked Mishra. And he replied, well, what you spoke at Vidyanagara? Tell me that step by step. Not to speak of others, you are the instructor of Prabhu. I am a mendicant Brahmana and you are my protector. I do not know enough to ask about right or wrong. Seeing me as a humble man, be merciful and speak what you think is best. Then Ramananda began to speak gradually, and as he spoke, the ocean of the nectar of the rasa of the words of Krishna began to rise. He asked questions of himself and then gave the answers. It was the third watch, and there was no end to his talk. The two were sunk in prema, speaker and listener, speaking and hearing. There was no thought of self. How could they know that it was the end of the day? The servant said, the day is ended. And then Rai stopped his talk. Krishna rested. He bade farewell to Mishra with great respect and saying, I have been filled. Mishra began to dance. Returning to his house, Mishra bathed and ate, and in the evening came to see the feet of Prabhu. With delighted heart, he bowed to the feet of Prabhu, and Prabhu said, did you hear of Krishna? And Mishra said, Prabhu, he made me fulfilled. He drowned me in a sea of nectar of words of Krishna. Enough cannot be said of Ramananda Rai. He is not human. He is full of the rasa of Krishna Bhakti. Rai said another thing to me. Do not consider that I am speaking of Krishna. Sri Gaurachandra speaks these words through my mouth. Whatever he makes me speak, I speak like a veena. He preaches the words and causes my mouth to speak them. Who can know his Leela on the earth? All that sea of Krishna rasa that I heard, all that rasa cannot be perceived by Brahma. And you have made me drink such rasa that in birth after birth I will be sold at your feet. Prabhu said, Ravananda is a mine of humility. He puts that which is his own on the head of another. That is true nature of those who experience deeply. They deny their own qualities and speak of others. Thus has been narrated a bit of the qualities of Ramananda Rai, and he instructed Pradyumna Mishra. Although he was a householder, Rai was not controlled by the 6 Vargas. Although he was a man of the world, he gave instructions to a sannyasin, to manifest all these qualities of his. Gaura sent Mishra to listen to him. Gaura knew well how to make manifest the qualities of a bhakta. By various tricks, he made these qualities manifest and so gained his own ends. Hear, O bhaktas, of another aspect of the nature of Gaura, how he made evident the depths of his divine nature, how in destroying the pride of sannyasins and pandits he manifested dharma through a low-born Sudra. Rai spoke of prema and the inner truths of bhakti, and he himself and Pradyumna Mishra were the listeners. And through Sanatana, he manifested the vilas of the perfection of bhakti, and through Haridas, he manifested the greatness of the name. Through Sri Rupa, he manifested the Leela of Prema Rasa in Braja. Who can understand the profundities of the play of Chaitanya? The Leela of Chaitanya is a sea of nectar, of which a single drop can flood the 3 worlds. So always drink the nectar of the actions of Chaitanya, from which comes knowledge of the truths of bhakti and the joy of prema. In this way, Mahaprabhu with his bhaktas sported at Nilachala, propagating bhakti. There was a Brahmin of Banga who had written a Nataka on the actions of Prabhu, and he brought it so that Prabhu could hear it. He was acquainted with Bhagavan Acharya, and meeting him there, he took up residence in his house. First, he read the Nataka to him, and many Vaishnavas were there with him to listen, and all praised it, saying that the Nataka was the greatest, the best, and all thought that he should have Mahaprabhu hear it. Who had written a song or a shloka or a book, first brought it to Swarupa for him to hear, and if it got Swarupa's approval, then it was read to Prabhu. If there was an artificial rasa or any opposition to the ultimate truths, Prabhu could not bear it and became angry. Thus Prabhu did not listen to anything first, and he stipulated this matter of correctness. So the Acharya petitioned Swarupa. A Brahmin has written an excellent Nataka on Prabhu. First you listen to it and see if you like it. If you do, afterwards we shall have Mahaprabhu hear it. Swarupa said, you are a most noble Goala, and you have a desire to listen to all kinds of shastras. But in the words of indifferent poets, there is seeming rasa, and it gives me no joy to listen to opposition to truths. Those who cannot discriminate between rasa and that which seems like rasa can never gain the shore of the sea of Bhakti Siddhanta. Those who do not know grammar, who do not know poetic ornamentation, and who know nothing of the ornamentation of drama, Such worthless people do not know how to describe Krishna Lila, and especially this Chaitanya Vihar, which is hard to grasp. Only that man, the wealth of whose heart is the lotus of the feet of Gouda, can describe the Krishna Lila and the Gouda Lila. It is misery to listen to the poetry of crude poets, as it is delight to listen to sincere poetry full of true skill. So Rupa has started two natakas, and listening to their introductions of them, delight grows. Bhagavan Acharya said, or hear it once. And when you hear it, you will decide if it is good or bad. Thus the Acharya persisted for several days, and giving in to his insistence, Swarupa consented to listen with all of them. Swarupa Goswami sat to listen, and the poet read the Nandi Shloka. That means the prologue of his play. Making conscious the enemy, the endless world, making conscious the endless world, which is naturally inert. He has attained to selfhood in the clear lotus-eyed, golden-hued body called Jagannath. The Atma of Jagannath has appeared in this world. May that Krishna Chaitanya be auspicious to you. When they heard the shloka, all the people praised it. But Swarup said, explain this shloka. And the poet said, Jagannath is the body, which is beautiful, and Chaitanya is the most serene body essence in it. By his nature, he brings consciousness to the inert world, and Mahaprabhu has appeared at Nilachala. When they heard this, the minds of all were pleased. But Swarup was not happy, and he said in an angry voice, you're a fool. You have ruined yourself completely. You have no faith that these both are Ishvara. Jagannatha Rai is full of Ananda, and his true form is Chit, and you have made him inert, transitory, and material body. Chaitanya is Swayam Bhagavan, full of the 6 divine qualities, and you have made him a mere jiva, like a spark to fire. But this offense against them both, you will gain misery. This is the reward of those who describe the truths without knowing them. You have made another serious error, for in separating the body from the essence of the body in the case of Ishvara, you have offended. In Ishvara, there is never separation of body and essence. The body of the Swarupa is Chit and Ananda, and there is no separation. And so it is said in Kurma Purana, in Ishvara, there is never a division between body and essence. And in the Bhagavad, O highest one, beyond everything, your Swarupa is open, void of divisions, and pure Ananda. I do not see divisions within it. O Atman, I take refuge in this form, creator of the universe, but separate from the universe, the soul of all elements and senses, the one, O beneficent to the world. Worship of you is the source of auspiciousness, and in meditation that form is certainly revealed by you. O Bhagavan, I make obeisance to you by serving you, by those who associate with false people, and by hellbound. You are not worshipped. End of quote. Where is Krishna, full of Ananda and the living Lord, divine glory, the Lord of Maya? And where is the miserable, insignificant Jiva, the slave of Maya? And so it is said in the Sridhar Swami's Bhavarta Deepika. Ishvara, embraced by Hladini and Samvit, is Sat Chit and Ananda. But the Jiva, covered by ignorance of himself, is subject to many kinds of pain. End of quote. When they heard this, the minds of the assembly were astonished. Goswami speaks the truth. He has insulted them both. When he heard this, the poet was surprised and ashamed and afraid. He was like a heron in the midst of swans, and he said nothing more. Seeing his misery, Swarupa's heart became compassionate, and he gave him instruction that would be of benefit to him. Go, read the Bhagavat in a place of Vaishnavas, and single-mindedly take refuge at the feet of Chaitanya. Associate always with bhaktas of Chaitanya, and then you will know the wave of the sea of perfection. Then will your learning be fruitful, and you will describe flawlessly the Swarupa Lila of Krishna. You wrote this shloka and got satisfaction from it, but the interpretation which is in your heart attaches flaws to both. You speak this and that, not knowing the proper usages. Saraswati, with those very words, has praised him. As Indra and the Daityas rebuked Krishna, so with those very words, Saraswati praised him. Bhagavat says, taking refuge of this mortal Krishna, this talkative, childish, rude, ignorant Krishna who thinks he is learned, the Gopas have done an insulting thing to me. End of quote. Indra was like a rat elephant who's mad drunk with his divine power. His judgment was destroyed and he was not restrained. Indra said, I have insulted Krishna, but through his mouth, Saraswati was praising him. He said, Vachala, talkative, but she meant blessed propagator of the Vedas. Balisha, childish, meant like a child, devoid of pride. Stabda, rude, meant commendably meek, and Agya, ignorant. Pandita Maninam, who thinks he is learned, meant than whom there is none more learned, and mortal, as that he is considered as a human in the affection of his bhaktas. Jarasandha said that Krishna is a vile man. I will not fight with you. You are the slayer of friends. All men are lower than whom? This was the interpretation of Purushadama in the mind of Saraswati, and Bandhu, friend, in the ignorance by which all people are bound. So the term Bandhuhan, slayer of friends, means he who destroys ignorance. In this same way, when Shishupala insulted him, Saraswati with those very words praised him. So in this shloka, your meaning comes out as an insult, but listen to Saraswati's meaning, by which praise comes. Jagannatha is the Swarupa of the Atma of Krishna, though here he is a wooden Brahma whose Swarupa is immobile. But there is identity with him, being of one form. Krishna is a single truth, but this Rupa has two forms. The source of the salvation of the world is in that power of desire, and combined with it, that identity which is gained, saves all the people of the world. Thus he made Avatara in the form of the moving creature Gaura. By darshana of Jagannatha, samsara is cut away, but all people of all countries are not able to come here. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya Goswami goes from country to country, and as a moving Brahma, he saves all people. This is Saraswati's meaning, and you are fortunate that you have made such a description. For while insulting Krishna, he uttered his name, and that name is the cause of freedom. Then that poet fell at the feet of the assembly, and holding grass in his teeth, he took refuge with them all. Then all the bhaktas embraced him, and speaking of his qualities, they brought him to Mahaprabhu. That poet abandoned everything and remained at Nilachala. Who can describe the mercy of the bhaktas of Gaura? Thus has been told the story of Pradyumna Mishra, who at the command of Prabhu went to hear talk of Krishna, and within that the greatness of Ramananda has been described with the holy mouth itself. And getting the opportunity, I spoke of the Nataka of the poet who, being ignorant in his faith, came to the feet of Prabhu. The Leela of Sri Chaitanya is pure nectar, and hundreds of streams flow in the current of a single Leela. Those who, being faithful, hear about this Leela they know the true essence of the rasa, of the bhakti, of the bhaktas, and the bhakti of the Gaura Lila. Krishna Das, whose hope and faith lie at the feet of Rupa and Raghunath, tells of the nectar of the acts of Chaitanya, the Chaitanya Charitamrta. Thus ends chapter 5 of the Antya Lila. Would somebody like to continue?
Gaura Haribol.
Gold, joy gold.
Who's next?
Well, there's Dino or Guna, whoever gets first to the video. That's great, isn't it? And now it's all going to Raghunath Das Goswami, the whole Raghunath Das Goswami story.
Okay.
Are you ready, Gunamala?
No, you do it, Dina. You're on it. You start, okay?
Okie dokie. Haribol.
Dina's taken over, madam.
Pressing the button.
There he is.
Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tat Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. So we're continuing the divine pastimes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Antya Lila, chapter 6. Who saved Raghunath Das indirectly from the darkness of the well of a lustrous house by his qualities of mercy, and presented him to Swarup, making him most dear. I take refuge in that Krishna Chaitanya. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glory, glory to Sri Chaitanya, glory to Nityananda, glory to Advaita Chandra, and to the hosts of Gaura Bhaktas. In this way, Gaura Chandra lived with his Bhaktas, and with various kinds of sport made various leelas in Nilachala. Even though in his heart he was pained because of separation from Krishna, he did not show it outwardly, for fear of giving sorrow to his Bhaktas. But when the sorrow of separation became unbearable, he showed itself, and then the derangement of Prabhu cannot be described. Ramananda's stories of Krishna and the songs of Swarup, these saved the life of Prabhu in the anguish of his viraha. In the day, Prabhu was distracted by the company of many people, but in the night time, the anguish of his separation grew. For the sake of his contentedness, two remained with him, and gave him solace with songs and shlokas of Krishna rasa. As formerly Subal had been the companion who had made Krishna happy, so Ram Rai served to give happiness to Gaura. And as formerly Lalita had been the chief companion of Radha, so Swarup Goswami sustained the life of Mahaprabhu. The good fortune of these two cannot be told, for people sang of them as the intimates of Prabhu. In this way, Gaura sported with his bhaktas, now hero bhaktas of the meeting with Raghunath. Formerly, when Raghunath had come to Shantipur, Mahaprabhu, being merciful, had taught him. Under the teaching of Prabhu, he went to his own home, and abandoning his false asceticism, he became like a man of living in the world. Inwardly, he was an ascetic, but outwardly, he did all the duties of his station. Seeing that, the hearts of his mother and father were overjoyed. When he got the news that Prabhu had returned from Mathura, he made preparations to go to Prabhu's side. At that time, there was a Mleccha overlord of the Muluk, or the Muliks. He was a Chaudhry of the Muluk of Saptagram. Hiranyadas took the Muluk through an agreement. His control was destroyed, and seeing that, he died. He had realized 20 lakhs and gave 12 lakhs to the king. That Turk got nothing at all and became an enemy. He brought a ujir and submitted a detailed account to the palace. Hiranya, the Majumdara, fled, but the Turk captured Raghunath. Every day he ordered Raghunath, "Bring your father and uncle here. If you do not, you will suffer." But when he brought Raghunath to be beaten and looked at him, his mind was changed, and he could not have him beaten, especially because his Kayasta caste. He was afraid with heart, and his mouth he roared and rumbled. But inwardly he was afraid to have him beaten. Then Raghunath devised a plan, and humbly he said at the feet of the Malecha, "My father and uncle are like your two brothers, and a brother is always fighting with the brother. Sometimes they fight, and sometimes they are affectionate. There is no consistency to it. Tomorrow, you three brothers will again be together. As I am to my father, so I am your son. I am in charge, and you are my protector. I am in your charge, and you are my protector. The protector should not chastise him who is protected. You know all the Shastras and are like a Zindapir." When he heard this, that Malecha's heart became soft. He began to weep, and tears rolled down, drenching his beard. The Malecha said, "From today, you are my son. I shall free you today by some stratagem." And having spoken with the Ujir, he released Raghunath, and he said lovingly to Raghunath, "Your uncle is foolish. He has appropriated 8 lakhs. I also am a brother, and he ought to give me some. You go and bring your uncle to me. Let him do that which is good. I have given the burden to him." So Raghunath brought that uncle to him. He came to terms with the Malecha, and all was peaceful. In this way, a year passed for Raghunath, and in the second year he decided to run away. He rose up in the night and fled away alone. But some distance away his father caught him and brought him back. In this way he ran away again and again, and was caught and brought back. And finally his mother said to his father, "Our son has become mad. Tie him up and keep him." And his father, much aggrieved, said to her, "He has wealth and power like Indra, and a wife like a celestial nymph. All these are not able to bind his heart. How can we keep him bound with ropes? Fathers can beget sons, but cannot wipe away the effects of his previous births. The grace of Chaitanya Chandra is on him. Who can restrain the madness of Chaitanya Chandra?" Then Raghunath reflected somberly, and the next day he went to the side of Nityananda Goswami. He gained the sight of Prabhu in Panihati Gram, and with him were many Kirtaniya servants. He was sitting on a pindi at the foot of the tree on the banks of the Ganga, like a crore of rising suns. He was surrounded by many bhaktas, above and below, and when he saw the glory of Prabhu, Raghunath was astonished. At some distance, he fell to the earth in obeisance, and the servant said, "Raghunath is bowing to you." When he heard that, Prabhu said, "Hey, thief, show yourself. Come here, come here. Today I shall punish you." So Prabhu summoned him, but he would not come near. So he was dragged there, and he took the feet of Prabhu on his head. By nature, Nityananda was playful and compassionate, and he said kindly to Raghunath, "You do not come near me. You stay at a distance. But now I have caught you and will punish you. Have you prepared for my people a meal?" have prepared for my people a meal of curd and chira, which is flat rice. And when he heard this, the heart of Raghunath was overjoyed. Immediately he sent his own people to the village, and all the people brought articles of food from the village. Chira and curd and milk and sandesh sweets and sugar and plantains. All these they brought and spread out all around before Prabhu. Virtuous brahmanas, hearing the word of a mahotsava, began to come, and people in uncountable numbers. They requested articles of food from still other villages, and several hundred Hollander clay pots were brought there. 5 or 7 huge mritundikas were brought, another form, a larger clay pot, and in them a brahmana soaked chira for Prabhu. In one place he was soaking the chira with hot milk, and half of it he mixed with curd and sugar and plantains, and the other half he mixed with thickened milk and put it into the champakala, and put into it champakala and sugar and ghee with camphor. When Prabhu, wearing a dhoti, sat down on the pinda, the brahmana placed 7 large earthen pots before him. As many of Prabhu's own people as there were in the place, all these very great people sat down in a circle. There were Ram Das Thakur and Sundarananda Das and Gangadhara, Murari, Kamalakara, Sadashiva and Purandara, Dhananjaya, Jagadish, Parameshwara Das, Mahesha, Gauri Dasa and Hora Krishna Das, Udaranadatta Thakur, and many others of his own people. All these sat around, and who can count them all? When they heard of it, Pandits and Bhattacharyas and many Brahmanas came, and honouring them, Prabhu seated them around everybody. He had put before them, the assembly, 2 mritundikas each. In one was milk chira, and in the other, curd chira. There were as many people as there could be in the place, and uncounted numbers sitting in the circle. And to each person 2 holanas were given. One was for soaking chira in milk, and the other for soaking chira in curd. Some of the brahmanas did not get a place around the circle. They went to the bank of the Ganga and soaked chira in the 2 holanas. And there were many people who did not find a place on the bank either. They got down into the water and ate chipitaka and curd. It's another form of rice, flat rice, broken rice. Some were above and some below, and on the banks of the Ganga, and 20 people served in these 3 places. At that time, Raghava Pandit came to that place, and seeing it, he was astonished. He began to laugh. He had brought various kinds of nishkadi prasad, and he placed them before Prabhu and distributed them to the bhaktas. He said to Prabhu, "Oh, for your sake, I have many food offerings made. Now enjoy these and keep the prasad in your house," Prabhu said. "I shall eat these articles in the day, and at night I shall eat the prasad at your house. I am a gopa in Jati, and I am here with all these other gopas. I get happiness in the fun of eating here on the riverbank." So he sat Raghava down and had him given 2 pots, and Raghava soaked the 2 kinds of chira in them. When all the people were full of chira, Prabhu in meditation summoned Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu came, and seeing him, Nitai arose, and with him began to look to the chira of everyone. And smiling, he put into it the mouth of Mahaprabhu 1 mouthful of each of the kundis of the holanas. And smiling, Mahaprabhu put another mouthful into his mouth, and both laughing made him eat. In this way, Nityananda moved around the whole circle, and all the Vaishnavas attentively watched this game. Why he moved around the why he moved around why he moved around the circle, no one knew, for no one was fortunate enough to see Mahaprabhu. Then Nityananda came back and sat on his seat, and he placed 4 kundis of Aroya Chira on his right. Giving him a seat, he seated Mahaprabhu, and the 2 of us then began to eat the chira. Seeing this, Nityananda Prabhu was overjoyed, and he showed himself controlled by various emotions. Then he commented, saying, "Hari!" and eat. And the sound of Hari, Hari arose and filled the world. Saying, "Hari, Hari!" the Vaishnavas ate, and they all remembered the feast on the riverbank. Nityananda Prabhu is noble and full of great mercy. He did all these things for the good fortune of Raghunath. Who can know the glorious mercy of Nityananda? He brought Mahaprabhu to the feast on the riverbank. Sri Ramdas and the other Gopas were overcome with praying, and they knew the bank of the Ganga to be the Jamuna beach. Hearing of the great feast, grocers from villages around brought chira and curd and sandesh sweets and plantains to sell. As many articles as they brought, they sold for great price. They took the money for the articles and were fed with those very things which they had sold. And all the people who had come out of curiosity, they too ate chira and curd and bananas. After he had eaten, Nityananda cleansed his mouth, and what remained in the 4 kundis he gave to Raghunath. And what remained in the other 3 kundikas, mouthful by mouthful, the Brahmanas gave to all the bhaktas. The Brahmanas brought a flower garland and put it before Prabhu, and brought sandalwood paste and anointed the whole body of Prabhu. The servant brought tambula and presented it to him. Prabhu chewed it, smiling. The garlands and sandalwood and the tambula that remained, Prabhu with his own holy hands distributed it to all. Raghunath was overjoyed, receiving the remnants of Prabhu and dividing it among his own people. He ate with them. Thus has been told the sport of Nityananda, and it has become famous as the Chira Dahi Mahotsava. So Prabhu rested, and when the day was done, he began kirtan at the mandir of Raghava. Nityananda Rai had all the bhaktas dance, and finally he too danced, flooded the world with prema. Mahaprabhu watched his dance. Everybody watched Nityananda, but did not see anyone else. The dance of Nityananda was like his own. There is nothing in the 3 worlds to compare to it. Who is able to describe the beauty of the dance which Mahaprabhu came to see? When he had finished his dance, Prabhu took rest, and when it was time to eat, the Pandit requested him to eat. Prabhu with his own people sat down to eat, and he spread a seat for Mahaprabhu on his right. Mahaprabhu came and sat on the seat, and when he saw this, delight grew in the heart of Raghava. He brought and placed prasad before the 2 brothers, and afterwards he served all the Vaishnavas, various kinds of pita and payasa, and heavenly sali rice, and so many kinds of preparations, putting nectar to shame. This was the prasad of Raghava Thakur, the essence of nectar, and again Mahaprabhu came to eat of it. When Raghava had cooked and made a food offering, he spread a separate offering from Mahaprabhu. And each day, Mahaprabhu ate there, and sometimes Prabhu gave him darshan. Raghava brought the food and served the 2 brothers. With great care, he made them eat everything, so that nothing remained. He brought how many offerings? I do not know. In the house of Raghava, Radha Thakurani herself cooked, for she had received a boon from Durvasa. that what she cooked would be sweeter than nectar. The prasad was beautiful and sweet-smelling, the essence of sweetness, and in eating it, the two brothers had unparalleled joy. Everybody told Raghunath to sit down and eat, but the Pandit said that he would eat afterwards. So the bhaktas ate their fill, and raising the sound of Hari, they got up and rinsed their mouths. The two brothers also rinsed their mouths, and Raghava brought garlands and sandalwood and put these on them. He gave them bira. He gave them bira to eat, or pan, another name for pan, tambula, and bowed to their feet. And to the bhaktas he gave pira, garlands, and sandalwood. And Raghava was very gracious to Raghunath, and he gave him the leaves with the leftovers of the two brothers. He said, Chaitanya Goswami has eaten of this. If you take the remnants, your bonds will be broken. For he always dwells in the hearts of bhaktas and in the houses of bhaktas. Sometimes he is hidden, and sometimes he is manifest. He is the self-dependent Bhagavan. Prabhu pervades everything, and he is always dwelling in everything. He who doubts this is destroyed. In the morning, Nityananda Prabhu bathed in the Ganga, and he sat with his own people at the foot of that tree. Raghunath came and bowed to his feet and entreated him through Raghava Pandit. I am low, mean, insignificant jiva. It is my desire to gain the feet of Chaitanya. It is like a dwarf wanting to catch the moon. With great care, I have planned many times to go, but I have never succeeded. As often as I have fled, abandoning my home and everything, my mother and father have caught and bound me. Except for your grace, no one gains Chaitanya. But if you are gracious, even wretched people gain him. I am unworthy and fear to entreat you, but Goswami, be merciful, grant me Chaitanya. Give me grace, and let me take your feet upon my head and bless me, saying, without obstacles you will gain Chaitanya. When he heard this, Prabhu smiled and said to all the bhaktas, his wealth in worldly possessions is like the wealth of Indra, but by the grace of Chaitanya, he has no pleasure in them. All of you give him your blessings that he can gain the feet of Chaitanya. He who gains the perfume of the lotus feet of Krishna, he finds no pleasure in Brahmaloka and the rest. Quote from the Bhagavad Purana 5:14-43. He, exalted, ardent for the illustrious one, even while a youth, abandoned like dirt his friends and kingdom, and his wife and son, which are dear to his heart and hard to leave. End of quote. Then Prabhu had word sent to Raghunath. Placing his feet upon his head, he began to say, when you had prepared that feast on the riverbank, Chaitanya himself came, being merciful to you, and being gracious, he ate of the milk and chipita. And he watched the dance, and in the night he ate prasad. Gora himself came, that he might save you, and he has cut away all your obstacles and bonds. He will present you to Swarup, and having made you an intimate servant, he will keep you at his feet. So be certain of this and go to your home, and quickly and without difficulty you will gain the feet of Chaitanya. So all the bhaktas gave him their blessings, and Raghunath bowed to the feet of all of them. He took leave of Prabhu and of the Vaishnavas, and met in private with Raghava. And having consulted with him, he gave in private 100 gold mudras and 7 tolas of gold, into the hand of the storekeeper of Prabhu. And he warned him, "Do not speak of this to Prabhu now. When he goes to his own house, then tell him of it." Then Raghava Pandit took him to his house and gave him darshan of his Thakur, and gave him garlands and sandal. And he gave him much prasad to eat on the road. And again Raghunath said to the Pandit, "All the servants and those who are dependent who are with Prabhu, I want to honor the feet of all of them. So give each 20, 15, 12, 10, 5 mudras, having decided who is worthy of what." He wrote it all out and presented it to Raghava, and Raghava wrote out how much would be given against the name of each. He placed with humility before the Pandit 100 mudras and 2 tolas of gold, a tola being 10 grams. And taking the dust of his feet, he came to his own house. By the grace of Nityananda, he considered himself fulfilled. From that time, he did not go within the house, but went to the Durga Mandap, which was outside, and lay there. There were guards there who remained awake, and he thought of many plans for escape. At that time, all the Gaura Bhaktas from Gouda were going to Nilachal to see Prabhu. Raghunath was not able to go with them all. In a group as evident and famous he would certainly be caught. One day it happened that while he was thinking in this way, lying in the Devi Mandap outside, when there were 4 dandas left in the night, Jadunandana Acharya entered. He was favoured by Vasudev Datta and was a Purohit, the guru of Raghunath. He was an intimate student of Advaita Acharya, and respecting the commands of Acharya, Chaitanya was the wealth of his life. When he came and stood in the courtyard, Raghunath came up to him and bowed down. One of his pupils had served his Thakur, but he had left that service. For the sake of that worship, he said to Raghunath, "Cause him to continue the worship. I can find no other Brahmin to serve." So saying, he took Raghunath and went away. All the guards at the end of the night had fallen asleep. The house of the Acharya was to the east of where they were, and the 2 of them went along the path, talking and listening. When they were halfway there, Raghunath said at the feet of his guru, "I shall find that Brahmana, and I shall send him to your place. You go home and be at ease, and give me your leave." So begging his leave under the pretext, he decided, "There are no more servants or guards with me. This is a good opportunity for me to flee." Thinking thus, he turned his face towards the east. He turned and looked behind him, but saw no one. So reflecting on the feet of Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda, he left the main path and ran along a side path. At every village, he left the path and went through the forests, with his body, mind, and speech concentrated on the feet of Chaitanya. He went 15 kroshas in one day, and in the evening he stopped at a cowshed of a gopa. Seeing that he was hungry, the gopa brought him milk. He drank that milk and remained there. The servants and guards, not seeing Raghunath, went and asked his guru about him. He said, "He asked leave of me and went to his own house." And the outcry arose, "Raghunath has fled." His father said, "The Bhaktas of Gouda have gone to Nilachal to Prabhu. Raghunath has gone away with them. You 10 men go and catch him and bring him back." He humbly sent a letter to Shivananda, "Send back my son." So the 10 men went up to Jankara, and at Jankara they met the Vaishnavas. Giving him the letter, they asked Shivananda for the news, and Shivananda said, "He has not come here." So the 10 turned around and came home, and his mother and father were extremely, extremely anxious in their hearts. And then Guna Mala described the next event in the morning when Raghunath woke up. Hari Bol.
Yes, and then Gunamala. Gunamala, there you are.
Hey, Guna.
Hey, I'm just going to have to go on.
Following, you know where we are? It's 182, verse 182.
Wow, she's got the whole groovy background.
Page 861 in the book.
I just have to make sure.
I'm loving the groovy cosmic background. It's really groovy. I'm liking it.
Right.
Page 861,
Yeah, at the bottom.
174.
No, the verse is 182. 182.
Guna, I can't hear you. I don't know about anybody else.
You can't hear me.
Oh, maybe it's just me.
Can you hear me
It's
now?
me. I've got my thing on. Sorry.
Yeah, we can hear you. Verse 182.
Technical.
Thanks.
Sorry.
And just go to the end of the chapter, you know.
We can hear
Now,
you loud and clear.
Yeah.
loud
Good.
and clear. Now, Raghunath Das rose up in the morning, and leaving the eastern direction, he turned his face to the south. Crossing Chhatrabhoga, he left the main road and made his way through unknown villages. He had nothing to eat, but he travelled all day. Hunger did not stop him, for his mind was on gaining the feet of Chaitanya, sometimes chewing, sometimes cooking, sometimes drinking milk. Whatever he got, by that he preserved his life. For 12 days he travelled to Sri Purushottam, and while on the way he ate on only 3 days. Goswami was sitting with Swarup and the others, and Raghunath came to meet him. Remaining at a distance in the courtyard, he prostrated himself, and Mukunda Datta said, "Raghunath has come." Prabhu said, "Come," and he came and held his feet, and raising him up, Prabhu embraced him in mercy. He bowed to the feet of Swarup and all the other bhaktas, and seeing the mercy of Prabhu, they all embraced him. Prabhu said, "The grace of Krishna is most powerful of all. It has snatched you from the pit of excrement of worldly things." And Raghunath said in his heart, "I know nothing of Krishna. I consider that I have been snatched away from it by your grace." Prabhu said, "Your father and your uncle I consider my maternal grandfathers because of their relationship to Chakravarti. Both of them are servants of Chakravarti, but are like brothers to him, and so I joke with them. His father and uncle are worms in the excrement pit of worldly things. They consider great affliction of the poison of worldly things as happiness. Even though they do Brahminical things for Brahmanas, they are not pure Vaishnavas, but are seeming Vaishnavas. Still, it is the nature of worldly things to bring great blindness and cause people to do things which bind them to the world. From such worldly concerns, Krishna has liberated you. The greatness of the mercy of Krishna cannot be described." Seeing the exhaustion and pallor of Raghunath, he said to Swarup, his heart soft with pity, "I present this Raghunath to you. Treat him as a son or a servant. There are among my people 3 named Raghunath. From today, this one will be known as Swarup's Raghunath." And so saying, he took the hand of Raghunath and put it into the hand of Swarup. Swarup said, "It is as Mahaprabhu commands." And so saying, he again embraced Raghunath. I cannot describe Chaitanya's affection for his bhaktas. Having pity on Raghunath, he said to Govinda, "He has fasted for many days on the path. Feed him well for many days." And to Raghunath he said, "Go to bathe in the sea, go to see Jagannath, and come back here and eat." And so saying, Mahaprabhu got up and went to do his midday rituals, and Raghunath Das met all the Bhaktas. Seeing the mercy of Prabhu toward Raghunath, the Bhaktas were astonished and praised his good fortune. So Raghunath went and bathed in the sea and saw Jagannath, and again came to Govinda. Govinda gave to him the leavings from the leaf of Prabhu, and Raghunath received this prasad in joy. In this way he remained at the feet of Svarup, and for 5 days Govinda gave him prasad. But from the next day, after having watched the flower Anjali, he remained standing in the lion gate begging for food. The servants of Jagannath and so many people with worldly possessions, having finished their service, would go home at night, and seeing a Vaishnava in the lion gate begging for food, were kind to him and had the pujaris give him food. The pujaris. Such had been the custom for a long time, that bhaktas, possessing nothing, stand in the lion gate, and all day long the Vaishnavas made Nam Sankirtan and had darshan of Jagannath whenever they wished. Some begged in the chatra and ate whatever little they got, and some at night remained in the lion gate for alms. Great was the asceticism of the Bhaktas of Mahaprabhu, and when he saw it, Gaura Bhagavan loved them. Govinda said to Prabhu, "Raghunath does not take prasad, but he stands in the night in the lion gate and eats what he gets by begging." And when he heard this, Mahaprabhu was pleased and began to say, "It is good, for he is acting according to the dharma of an ascetic. Vairagis will always perform Nam Sankirtan and stay alive by eating what they get by begging. The Vairagi who is dependent upon others does not gain the desired goal, and Krishna ignores him. The highest object of his desire escapes the Vairagi, who caters to his palate, and he is controlled by his taste. The duty of a Vairagi is always to make Nam Sankirtan and to fill his belly with vegetables and leaves and fruit and roots. He who runs this way and that for the satisfaction of his taste buds, devoted to his belly and his penis, does not gain Krishna." On another day, Raghunath petitioned at the feet of Svarup regarding his own duties. "For what purpose did he have me leave home? I do not comprehend his intention. What work am I to do, Prabhu? Instruct me." Raghunath said none of this to Prabhu, for his own words he caused to be spoken by Govinda or Svarup. So the next day Svarup went before Prabhu and asked, "Raghunath petitions at the feet of Prabhu, saying, 'What is my duty? I do not understand the reasons for this. Instruct me with your holy mouth.'" Smiling, Mahaprabhu said to Raghunath, "I have made Svarup responsible for your instruction. Learn from him the truths of that which is to be attained and the way of attaining it. He knows far more than I do. Still, if you have faith in my instructions, then be certain of these words of mine. Do not listen to gossip, and do not speak gossip. Do not eat well, and do not wear fine clothes. Do not be proud, but give honor to others. Always take the name of Krishna, and in your mind serve Radha and Krishna in Vraj. These, in brief, are my instructions. You will get the details of them from Svarup." There's a shloka from Rupa Goswami's Padyavali, quoting Krishna Chaitanya. He who knows himself as humbler than the grass, who is more forbearing than a tree, who feels no pride, but gives honour to other men, he should always practice the Hari Kirtan. End of quote. Hearing this, Raghunath clasped his feet, and Mahaprabhu embraced him in his mercy. Again he presented him to Swarup, and with Swarup he performed intimate service. At that time all the Bhaktas of Gauda came, and as before, Prabhu met them all, and taking all of them, Prabhu cleansed the Gundicha, and with all of them he had a forest feast. With all of them he danced at the car festival, and seeing this, the heart of Raghunath was filled with wonder. When Raghunath Das met them all, Advaita Acharya was very kind to him, and Shivananda Sena told him the story. Your father sent 10 men to take you back. He sent a letter to me to send you back, but when they didn't find you, they went home from Jankra. At the end of the 4 months, the Bhaktas returned to Gauda, and when he heard this, the father of Raghunath sent a man. That man asked Shivananda Sena, "Did you see a Vairagi at the place of Mahaprabhu? He is the son of Govardhan, and his name is Raghunath. Did you meet him at the Neelachal?" Shivananda said, "He is there with Prabhu. He is very famous. There is no one who does not know him. Prabhu has put Swarup in charge of him. He is like the very life of the Bhaktas of Prabhu. Day and night he sings Naam Sankirtan, and never for an instant does he leave the feet of Prabhu. He is greatly ascetic, caring neither for food nor for clothing. He eats what he gets, and somehow maintains his life. At 10 dandas into the night he goes, and having watched the flower offering, and stands in the lion gate to beg for food. If anyone gives him anything, he eats it. Sometimes he fasts, and sometimes chews lime." When he had heard this, the man went to Govardhan and told him the whole story of Raghunath. When they heard it, his mother and father were most unhappy, and they decided to send a man with goods for their son. So they sent to the place of Shivananda 400 mudras and 2 servants and 1 Brahmin. Shivananda said, "You will not all be able to go. When I go, then you will come with me. So now go home. When all of us go, then we shall take all of you with us." It was on this occasion that Sri Kavikarnapura wrote extensively in his book of the greatness of Raghunath. So shloka from Chaitanya Chandradaya Nataka. To whom among dwellers at Neelachal is Raghunath not known, that ocean of asceticism, beloved of Swarup Damodar, soothed by the constant and profound grace of Sri Chaitanya, chief in the hearts of all of us, possessed of great virtues, the pupil of Yadunandan Acharya, beloved of Sri Vasudev, and sweet in nature. He is a field of glory which, uncultivated and untended, delights the hearts of all people, in which the tree of praying for him, even at the time of planting, is incomparably fruitful. End of quote. As Shivananda spoke to the man, so in just that way Karnapura composed his shlokas. So at the end of the year, Shivananda went to Neelachal, and the Brahmana and the servants of Raghunath went with him. When the Brahmana and the servants and 400 mudras, with the Brahman and the servants and 400 mudras, he went and met Raghunath at Neelachal. But Raghunath Das did not accept these, and so with the goods, the 3 people remained there. At that time, Raghunath took great pains to offer Prabhu an invitation 2 days in every month. Those 2 invitations required 8 panas of cowries, and he took that much from the servants and the brahmana. In this way, inviting him, 2 years went by. At the end of that time, Raghunath stopped the invitations. For 2 months, Raghunath did not extend him any invitation, and the son of Shakji asked Swarup, "Why has Raghu stopped sending me invitations?" And Swarup said, "He has reached a personal decision. I take the goods of a worldly man to offer invitations. Perhaps the heart of Prabhu is not pleased at this. Taking these goods, my mind is not at ease. I see that reputation is the only fruit of these invitations. Because it is my request, Prabhu honors my invitations. If he did not honor them, this stupid person would be unhappy. He has decided this and has given up the invitations." And when he heard this, Mahaprabhu smiled and began to say, "If one eats the food of a worldly man, the heart is soiled. And if one has a soiled heart, one does not remember Krishna. It is a Rajasa invitation to eat the food of a worldly person. And the hearts of both him who gives it and him who accepts it are soiled. Because of his diffidence, I took food there so many days. It is good that by himself he has realized this and has given it up." And after some days, Raghunath left the lion gate and began to go to the chatra to beg and eat. Hearing this from Govinda, Prabhu asked Swarup, "Raghu does not stand in the lion gate to beg." Swarup replied, "He feels unhappy in the lion gate, so he goes at noontime to the chatra to beg." Prabhu said, "It is good that he has left the lion gate. Begging in the lion gate is like the action of a prostitute." The shloka. "This man is coming. He will give me money. This man has not given me anything. Another man is coming. He will give me something. He has not given me anything. But another man will come, and he will give me something." End of quote. But going to the chatra, one fills one's belly with as much as is necessary. There is no anxiety, and in happiness one can praise Krishna. So saying, he gave him his grace. He gave him a Govardhan Shila and a garland of Gunja flowers. Shankaranya Saraswati had come from Vrindavan and had brought the Shila and the garland from there. Having woven the Gunja garland, he brought it and the Govardhan Shila and gave them to Prabhu. Receiving these 2 wonderful things, Prabhu was greatly pleased, and at the times of smarana, he would put the Gunja garland around his neck. Sometimes he held the Govardhan Shila before his eyes, and sometimes to his heart, and sometimes to his nose to smell it, and sometimes he put it on his head. He always wet the Shila with the water of his tears, and Prabhu called the Shila the body of Krishna. In this way, he had the garland and the Shila for 3 years, and then he delightedly gave the garland and the Shila to Raghunath. Prabhu said, "This Shila is the Vigraha of Krishna. Take it and serve it eagerly. Do Satvika Puja to this Shila, and quickly you will gain the wealth of the prema of Krishna. Take a kuja jar of water and some shoots of tulsi, and with pure bhav perform the Satvik Seva. On the 2 sides, between 2 leaves, there should be tender shoots, and in this way, with faith, you will gather 8 shoots." So with this instruction, with his holy hands, he gave the Shila, and in joy, Raghunath began to serve it. Swarup Goswami gave him 2 cloths of 1 12-finger span, and 1 pidi, and a kuja for bringing water. And with these Raghunath worshipped. And at the time of worship, he saw Vrajendranandana in the Shila. Prabhu has given me this Govardhan Shila with his own hands. Thinking this, Raghunath floated in praying. In the service with water and tulsi, joy was born within him, more joy than there was in the worship with the 16 upacharas. In this way he worshipped for many days, and then Swarup Goswami said to him, "Offer Kaja and Sandesh worth 8 calories. If you offer them with faith, they will be like nectar." So he made an offering of 8 calories worth of Kaja at the order of Swarup. Govinda carried it out. When Raghunath got the Shila and the garland, he thought about the purpose of Goswami in this. In giving me the Shila, Goswami has given me Govardhan, and in giving me the Gunja garland, he has given me the feet of Radhika. Raghunath, in his joy, was oblivious of his surroundings, and with body and mind, he served the feet of Gauranga. Who can write of the endless qualities of Raghunath? Raghunath's observances were as firm as a row of stones. 7.5 praharas he spent in Smarna. For food and sleep he had 4 dandas, and on some days not even that. The story of his asceticism is a wonderful one. From that time on, he put no sweet thing on his tongue. He wore no clothing except for a torn, old, ragged patchwork wrap, and he kept with great care the commands of Prabhu. He ate only to keep himself alive, and for eating even that he reproached himself. So from the Bhagavad Purana. He who knows the Atman to be supreme, by that knowledge his longings are destroyed. For what purpose and for what cause does he nourish the body, being addicted to bodily things? End quote. All the prasad rice, which the pushari could not sell, after 2 or 3 days became rotten. They would throw that rice to the cows in the lion gate, and because of its rotten stench in the Tailanga, cows could not eat it. That rice Raghunath brought to his house at night, and he washed it, throwing much water on it. The inner kernel of the rice he found hard, but he spread it with salt and ate it all. One day Swarup saw him doing that, and smiling, he asked him for a little to eat. Swarup said, "You eat such nectar every day and do not give us any. Is this your nature?" Prabhu heard the story from the mouth of Govinda, and the next day Prabhu came and spoke with him. "How can you eat such things and not give me any?" And so saying, he took a handful to eat. He was taking another handful, but Swarup held his hand, and saying, "This is not fit for you," he snatched it away by force. Prabhu said, "Every day I eat many kinds of prasad, but I have never found any prasad sweeter than this." Thus again and again he showed mercy to Raghunath. And seeing the asceticism of Raghunath, he was delighted in his heart. And Raghunath Das has spoken of his own deliverance in his Gauranga Shtava Kalpavriksha. So from Gauranga Shtava Kalpataru, he who has saved me, a fallen and worthless person, from the burning fire of great wealth, by his mercy, joyously presenting me to his own Swarup, and has given me the Govardhan Shila and the garland of Gunja flowers, even though they were dear to him. That Gauranga has made me joyful, being risen in my heart. End of quote. Thus has been narrated the meeting of Raghunath, and he who hears that gains the feet of Chaitanya. Krishnadas, whose hope and faith lie at the feet of Rupa and Raghunath, tells of the nectar of the acts of Chaitanya, the Chaitanya Charitamrta. End of chapter.
Do you want to carry on?
Would you like to carry on, Madame?
Yeah, madam.
All right.
Thank you.
Matura's trying to get back, so we've got to wait for him anyway to get back. He's disappeared
Okay.
from
You
our
can carry
screen.
on. Yeah.
All right. It's great, isn't it?
I love it. Yeah.
Okay, let me just put my video on. Chapter 7. Oh my days. Chaitanya Charanam Boja Makaranda Liho Bhaje Yesham Prasada Matrena Pamaro Pyamaro Bhavet. Sloka 1. By whose grace even a wretched man like me becomes immortal. I bow to those holy people who taste the pollen of the lotus feet of Chaitanya. Glory, glory to Sri Chaitanya. Glory to Nityananda. Glory to Advaita Chandra and to the hosts of Gaura Bhaktas. The next year, when the Bhaktas of Gauda came, Mahaprabhu met them all, as he had done previously. In this way, Prabhu sported with his Bhaktas, and at that time, Vallabha Bhatta came to meet him. Coming, Bhatta bowed to the feet of Prabhu, and Prabhu, because of his knowledge of the Bhagavat, embraced him. Honoring, Prabhu sat him down beside him, and humbly Bhatta began to speak. For a long time it has been a desire of my heart to see you, and Jagannatha has fulfilled it. For now I have seen you. Seeing you like the manifest Bhagavan, you are Brajendra Nandana and no other. He who remembers you is purified. Is it then strange that there is purification in darshana of you? So in the Bhagavat we have by remembrance of them, the homes of men are immediately purified. What then comes from sitting with them and washing their feet and touching them and having darshana of them? End of quote. The dharma, I'm speaking, Vallabhabhatta speaking. The dharma of the Kali age is the praising of the name of Krishna, and apart from the power of Krishna, there would be no promulgation of this. You have begun it, and there is the proof. You hold the power of Krishna, and so are none other than he. You manifest the name of Krishna in this world, and he who sees you floats in Krishna prema. There is no manifestation of prema apart from the power of Krishna. Krishna is the giver of prema, and the proof of this is in the Shastras, and so in Rupa Goswami's Laghu Bhagavatamrita. Of the lotus-naveled one, there are many avatars, in many ways grace bestowing. But apart from Krishna, is anyone else the giver of the gift of prema, even to creepers and plants? Mahaprabhu said, listen, O great-minded Bhatta, I am a Mayavadi sannyasi, and I know nothing of Vishnu Bhakti. Advaita Acharya Goswami is the manifest Ishvara, and my heart has been purified in association with him. There is none who is equal in Krishna Bhakti or in all the Shastras, and thus his name Advaita Acharya. By his grace, the mlechas get Krishna Bhakti. Who can tell the power of his Vaishnavism? And Nityananda, and Nityananda, the Avaduta, is the manifest Ishvara, mad and drunken with bhava. He is a sea of Krishna Prema. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, master of the six systems, guru of the world in six systems, is a great Bhagavat. He showed me the other shore of Bhakti Yoga. By his grace is known the essence of the yoga of Krishna Bhakti. And Ramananda Rai is chief among great Bhagavatas. He taught me that Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. And in that Prema Bhakti is the crest jewel of the ends of man. And from him I know that Prema Bhakti in the Raga Marga is the best of all. Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhura Bhavas there are. And these are the refuges of those who are by nature servants, friends, elders, and lovers. There is that Bhakti which is mixed with knowledge of his divinity, and that which is pure power. And by knowledge of his divinity, one does not gain Brajendra Kumar. And so in the Bhagavad, that Bhagavan, son of the Gopika, is easily obtainable by those who have bhakti. But for those who are concerned with the body or with jnana or with becoming Atman, it is not so easy. End of quote. The word Atma Bhuta speaks of the followers. Lakshmi did not gain Brajendra Nandan by knowledge of divinity. And again in the Bhagavad, that grace which rose up for the beautiful women of Braja who received the blessing of necks embraced by his arms at the time of the Rasa celebration was not vouchsafed even to Shri, eternally beloved, or other heavenly women whose fragrance is like lotuses. So why others? End of quote. In pure bhava, his friend rides upon his shoulders, and in pure bhava, Vrajeshwari ties him up. My friend, my son, this is their pure hearts. And thus do Shuka and Vyasa praise him, again in the Bhagavad. They, worshipful for the merit they had earned, played with him whom the followers of Maya consider a human child, and whom worshippers in the Dasya Bhava consider to be God, to be fully adored, and whom those who follow Jnana consider to be the experience of the pleasure of Brahman. And again, O Brahmana, what holy work, engendering such great merit, did Nanda do, or the most blessed Yashoda, that Hari suckled milk from her breast? End of quote. Even if they saw his divine splendor, pure ones would not know it as splendor. Thus Bhava alone is greater than this splendor. Again in the Bhagavad, Yashoda considered to be her own son, that Hari, whose greatness is celebrated by the three Vedas, by the Upanishads, by Sankhya, by Yoga, by Sattvata. End of quote. All this Ramananda Rai has taught me. He is a man who knows rasa unhindered and who has the joy and happiness of prema. The must He's in doom hell. Well, we're still recording.
Okay, well, I'll pick that up. You keep recording and I can't do anything. I can't get back on.
All right, keep trying because you've got to be able to stop the recording.
I know, I don't know. I'll go, okay, you keep on and I'll keep on.
Okay. Where was I? Yes, all this Rai Ramananda has taught me. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking to Vallabha Bhatta. And Swarupa Damodar is the image of Prema Rasa. And in his company, I got knowledge of the sweet rasa of Braja, the Prema of the Braja Devis is pure and without a hint of karma. A sign of it is that it is dedicated to the happiness of Krishna. And so in the Bhagavad, O beloved, in fear that your most delicate lotus feet be injured by our hard breasts, we place them gently down. With those same lotus feet, you wander about the forest. Are they not hurt by those sharp pointed stones? You are our very life, and therefore our minds are rended. End of quote. The pure prema of the gopis has nothing of knowledge of his divinity. In prema there is rebuke. This is a sign of it. Again in the Bhagavad. O Achyuta, entranced by the song of your knowing flute, and having transgressed husbands and sons and family and relatives and brothers and friends, we have come to you, knowing the way. O cheat, what kind of man would abandon women at night, in the night? End of quote. This is the best worship of all. It surpasses all other kinds of bhakti. And thus Krishna says, I am in your debt. In the Bhagavad, your union with me is stainless, and I by my own deeds will not be able to repay you even in the lifetime of a god. You have loved me properly, having cut all the unaging fetters of world and family. Let your holy deeds be rewarded by their own holiness. End of quote. So pure bhava is far greater than knowledge of divinity, and on the earth there was no bhakta the equal of Uddhava. He prayed for the dust of their feet. All this I have learned in the company of Swarupa. The Bhagavat says, oh, that I could be one of these plants or shrubs or creepers. In the dust of their feet in Vrindavan, they have abandoned the proper path and their own people hard to abandon, and have worshipped the path of Mukunda, sought after by the Shrutis. End of quote. Haridas Thakur is chief among the great Bhagavatas. Each day he takes 3 lakhs of the names of Krishna. I learned the greatness of the name from him, and by his grace the greatness of the name is known. Acharya Ratna, Acharya Niti, Gadadhara Pandit, Jagadananda, Damodara, Shankara, and Vakreshwara, Kashishwara, Mukunda, Vasudeva, Murari, and how many other bhaktas incarnated in Gauda propagate prema and the Krishna name throughout the world. And from the company of all these has come my Krishna bhakti. Knowing that there was deep pride in the heart of Bhatta, Mahaprabhu spoke all these words as a trick. I know all about the Vaishnava truths, and I can explain better than anyone the meaning of the Bhagavad. This deep pride was in the mind of Bhatta, but when he heard the words of Prabhu, it shrank. He's back. Hearing of the group's Vaishnavism from the mouth of Prabhu, Bhatta desired to meet all of them great. And he added, do all these Vaishnavas stay in a particular place? And Prabhu said,
Stop recording.
Yeah.
well, it's recording, yes. Let me just finish off. The next day, oh, where was I? Do they stay? Vallabha Bhatta is asking, do all these Vaishnavas stay in a particular place? And Prabhu said, you will see all of them here. Then Bhatta, with ingratiating words and most humbly, offered Prabhu an invitation. The next day, all the bhaktas came to the place of Prabhu, and Mahaprabhu introduced Bhatta to them all. Seeing the glory of the Vaishnavas, Bhatta was astonished. He was like a firefly before them all. Then Bhatta had much Mahaprasad brought, and he fed Mahaprabhu and his people. The sannyasis with Paramananda Puri all sat on one side to eat. Advaita sat on one side of him and Nityananda on the other, and Prabhu sat between them, with his bhaktas before and behind. There were so many bhaktas of Gauda that I cannot count them all. They all sat in rows in the courtyard. Seeing the bhaktas of Prabhu, Bhatta was astonished, and he made obeisance at the feet of each of them. Swarupa, Jagadananda, Kashishwara, Shankara, Raghava, and Damodara served. Vallabha Bhatta had much of Mahaprasad brought, and he himself served the sannyasis together with Prabhu. Getting the prasad, all the Vaishnavas said, Hari, Hari. The sound of Hari rose up and filled the whole Brahma world. He brought many garlands and sandalwood and pan and betel nuts, and worshipping all of them, Bhatta was delighted. On the day of the car festival, Prabhu began the dance. As before, he divided them into 7 groups: Advaita, Nityananda, Haridasa, Vakreshwara, Srinivasa, Raghava, and Gadadhara Pandit. These 7 led the 7 groups dancing, and Prabhu wandered out singing Hari Bol. 14 drums were playing in loud kirtana, and in the prema of each of the dancers, the world floated. Seeing this, Vallabha Bhatta's heart was astonished, and he lost himself, agitated in pleasure. Then Mahaprabhu stopped the dance of all of them, and as before, he himself began to dance. Prema, more prema arose when they saw the beauty of Prabhu, and Bhatta was certain that he was manifest Krishna. This way they all watched the car festival, and Bhatta was astonished at the actions of Prabhu. At the end of the festival, Bhatta went to the place of Prabhu and placed his humble request at the feet of Prabhu. I have written a tika on the Bhagavat. Will you listen to it, Mahaprabhu? Prabhu replied, Oh, I am not able to understand the meaning of the Bhagavat. I am not great enough to hear the meaning of the Bhagavat. I only sit and take the names of Krishna, and though I take them day and night, I have not fulfilled the prescribed number. Bhatta said, Oh, I have developed an explanation of the meaning of the name of Krishna. Listen to that which I have expounded. And Prabhu said, oh, I do not consider many meanings of the name of Krishna. I only know the beautiful Shama, son of Yashoda. And it is said, he who is Shama colored like the leaf of a tamala tree, who drinks from the breast of Yashoda, in him is the primary meaning of the name Krishna. This is attested in the Shastras. End of quote. The meaning, is the only one that I have ascertained. I have no right to all the other meanings. Knowing that the commentary of Bhatta would be trifling and worthless, the omniscient Prabhu was indifferent to it. Disappointed, Bhatta went to his own house, and his bhakti toward Prabhu was lessened a little. Then Bhatta went to the place of Pandit Goswami, that means Gadadhar. He came and went, expressing affection for him in various ways. But all the people of Nilachala recognized the indifference of Prabhu toward him, and they would not listen at all to the commentaries of Bhatta. Bhatta was ashamed, for he was insulted, and he went unhappily to the place of the Pandit, meaning Gadadhar.
Could you just, sorry, if you don't mind, could you just, your chair is back in the picture.
Oh, yeah, it's been there for a while. Okay.
No, we could get a bit more. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. Now, where was I? The Pandit and Pandit Goswami, that means Gadadhar Pandit. So, he went to his house, to Vallabha Bhatta, and humbly said, I take refuge with you being merciful, you can save my life. If you would listen to my explanations on the Krishna name, then the mud of my shame would be removed. The Pandit was in difficulty and he was hesitant. He could not decide what he should do. But even though the Pandit did not agree, Bhatta went and read to him, forcing him to listen. The Pandit was not able to forbid him because he was high-born. He prayed within himself, "Save me in this difficulty, O Krishna. I take refuge in you. Prabhu is indwelling, and he will certainly know my heart. I do not fear him, but his followers are harsh." Even though there was no error in the decision of the Pandit, still the followers of Prabhu were angry because of their affection for him. And Vallabha Bhatta continued to come to the place of Prabhu and debate and so on with Acharya and others. Whatever Bhatta said about the establishment of the truth, no sooner than he heard it, Advait Acharya would refute it. Whenever Bhatta would go before Acharya and the others, he appeared like a heron among swans. One day, Bhatta asked Acharya, "The Jiva is a woman who looks on Krishna as her husband. She who is Patibrata does not take the name of her husband, but you take the name of Krishna. What kind of dharma is this?" The Acharya replied, "Before you is the personification of dharma. Ask him, and he will give you an answer to it." Prabhu heard this and said, "You do not know the inner meaning of dharma. If she gets the command from her husband, it is the dharma of this patibrata to obey the command of her husband, to take his name incessantly. And the patibrata is not able to disobey this command of her husband. Thus she takes the name and gets the fruits of the name. And by the grace of Krishna, the fruits of the name are the arousal of prema." When he heard this, Vallabha Bhatta was silent, and going to his house, with a saddened heart, he thought, "I'm constantly defeated in that assembly. If one day my arguments would come out on top, then I would be happy, and all my shame would disappear. But how can I establish my own arguments?" So the next day he came and made obeisance to Prabhu and sat down, and with a certain pride in his heart he said to all, "I have refuted the explanations of Swami of the Bhagavat. I am unable to accept the words of his explanations. He who takes and reads his commentaries says that they are not consistent. For that reason, I do not honor Swami." Prabhu smiled and said, "Who does not honor Swami is to be considered as inwardly a prostitute." And so saying, Prabhu remained silent. And when they heard this, everyone was delighted. The Gauda Avatara is for the good of the world, and he who knows who has pride in his heart, and he knows who has pride in his heart. So Bhagavan corrected Bhatta with various kinds of slights. As Krishna broke the pride of Indra, ignorant jivas consider what is for their good and as being not good, but after their pride is crumbled, their eyes are opened. So Bhatta came home, and in the night he reflected. Formerly, at Prayaga, he was very merciful to me, and he honored my invitations with his own people. Why now has Prabhu's heart turned against me? In his mind is, let him be free of the pride that says, I am victorious. And this is the nature of Ishvara, and he does it for the good of all, to cause me to know myself, that I am proud, and to destroy that pride, he has insulted me. He does it for my benefit, and I consider it painful. So Indra most foolishly did towards Krishna. So thinking, in the morning he came to the feet of Prabhu, and humbly he praised him and took refuge in him. I am an ignorant jiva, and what I did was the deed of an ignorant man. Stupidly, I flourished my learning before you, and you, as Ishvara, showed mercy, as is appropriate to yourself, and by your contempt towards me, you broke all my pride. I am ignorant, and I considered my benefit as an insult, as ignorant Indra vilified Krishna. Now, by the coal of your mercy, the blindness of my pride is gone. Now I know that you have been so gracious to me. I have committed an offense. Forgive me, that I might take refuge in you. Be merciful to me. Place your feet on my head. Prabhu said, you are a Pandita and a great Bhagavat. Wherever these two qualities are, there is no mountain of pride. You produced your own commentary, scorning that of Sridhar Swami. You hold such pride that you say, I do not honor Sridhar Swami. We know the Bhagavat through the grace of Sridhar Swami. Sridhar Swami is the Guru of the world, and I honor him as Guru. Whoever will shame Sridhar out of pride writes foolishness, and people will not respect him. But he who writes following Sridhar, all the people will accept him and respect him. So follow Sridhar in explaining the Bhagavat. Leave your pride and worship Krishna Bhagavan. Leave your offense and make Krishna Sankirtana. Quickly you will gain the feet of Krishna. Bhatta said, since you have been kind, again one day accept my invitation. Prabhu was incarnated to save the world, so he honored the invitation to give him happiness. Let there be benefit to the world. This was in the heart of Prabhu, and so, by punishment, he purified his heart. So Vallabha invited Mahaprabhu and his followers, and Mahaprabhu was kind to him. The bhava of, I'll leave it there. I just noticed the time.
Nitai Gaura Haribol.
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 Sorry,
Haribol.
went over the time. I'm going to stop recording.